Hi everyone, and welcome to Lecture 4. In this video series, we'll be discussing approaches to storytelling through level design, with an emphasis on the environment. So this example from Prey demonstrates extensive consideration of production design within one singular piece of concept art, all of which inform the environment, production, art, and level design process for the game. You can feel the meticulous research and planning that went into devising such a visually cohesive image. All of the elements depicted above work to convey the setting and allude to story without explicitly stating story through dialogue or written text. Whilst the gameplay in Prey takes place on board the Talos 1 in the year 2030, the origin of the space mission began in the late 1950s to early 1960s, with a joint Russian-US collaboration to contain unidentified non-terrestrial forms. As such, the visual details shown on this slide, such as the Art Deco style architecture, the 1960s Chesterfield-style sofa and chairs, the retro-futuristic prop design, as shown through the brass ring with the floating ball, the Art Deco Russian-inspired typeface used for the TranStar logo, and the textiles and colour choice all serve to ground this concept image in a space and time that, whilst not existent, feels like a real setting. Elements such as the lit cigarette or cigar and the exposed roof panelling and cabling allude to human activity and presence, further bringing life and activity to the world. Who was smoking here? Why has the repair or maintenance work been abandoned? Such questions ignite curiosity in the player and help form the narrative experience. So if all of these details can be part of production design, that begs the question, what actually is production design? Production design encompasses establishing period, establishing and unpacking genre, defining architecture, location and sets, defining colour, lighting and texture, visual research, planning and visualization. The elements that we'll be focusing on in this series of lecture videos are period, genre, location, sets, colour, texture, and lighting. So, period research is an important first step in production design. The period is defined as the time and place that the scene is set. Think where and when. This ought to be very specific. The world changes from day to day and not century to century. The photo on the last slide was from Earl Grey Dock in Dundee in 1935. For those of you who currently reside in Dundee, this view is probably unfamiliar. What used to be Earl Grey Dock has now been totally transformed, expanding the land outwards to create Slessor Gardens and the space where the V&A resides. The only remnant of the once great dock is a small side street named Earl Grey PIE. These images both depict Lower Manhattan skyline in 2001 and were taken just 2 months apart. This might seem like an extreme example, but it evidences the fact that environments we inhabit change not just over hundreds of years, but daily. Whether it's the existence of a building or the style of a box of cornflakes, it's important that you consider what would have existed in the game environment you're planning to produce. Anachronism is defined as inconsistency in chronology, or the appearance of something inconsistent with the time or era. Anachronism is sometimes used for comedic effect, and can therefore be used as an intentional narrative device should the author wish it. Most often, anachronism in films or television is unintentional, and can result in phrases, names, historical facts and developments, technologies, sets and props appearing out of time. The image on the left depicts the Santa Croce as it appears in Assassin's Creed 2, and on the right as it appears in real life today. However, whilst some would think that this is an accurate representation of the building, the modern facade was actually constructed in 1863, roughly 400 years after the events in the game take place. In his paper, Historical Veneers, Anachronism, Simulation, and Art History in Assassin's Creed 2, in the book Playing with the Past, Digital Games and the Simulation of History, pages 215 to 232, Dow states, the non-obvious anachronism confuses the spectator and leaves the historical accuracy of what is seen in question. Avoiding anachronism is difficult, and mistakes are easy to make, but through thorough research you can make for consistent and more interesting levels. Two examples of this are the Starbucks cup on the table in Game of Thrones. For eagle-eyed viewers, this can instantly break immersion in the fantasy world. In the right-hand image from Hurt Locker, an Xbox 360 is shown, despite the film being set in 2004, and the Xbox 360 being released in 2005. They were only 1 year out. A little more research, and this mistake could have easily been avoided. Staying relevant to the period can be crucial, especially for those of you who are designing a level based on the history brief. So, accurate representations of period and setting are increasingly important to game design. The game Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is a fantastic example of thorough visual research, accurately portraying a fictional 1980s Shropshire village called Yalton. The vehicles, houses, lampposts, shops, and miscellaneous items all reflect the period and evoke a sense of nostalgia for a time and place that you've never even lived. Game artists need to be excellent and thorough researchers. Level designers should be aware of and engage with the research also, as it could be used to inform level structure and flow. That concludes the first part of this video, and I'll see you in the next. Thank you.